Com. I'm Malika Andrews, joined by this esteemed panel. We have NBA champion Kendrick Perkins. We have the host of the smartest basketball podcast on this side of the Mississippi in Zach Lowe.
Hey.
And Channing Frye's sidekick, Richard Jefferson. Y'all are going to have...
Oh, you laugh like that? You laugh real hard there, though.
So
right. It's funny.
It's funny.
It's fine.
You guys are going to have plenty of time to talk about this Game 4 over the course of the next hour, but I do want to start with two people who know these teams inside and out better than anyone. My people, it's our reporters. Tim Bontemps is covering the Celtics for us, and Om Young-Masuk is on the Warriors. So, Om, I want to start with you here. The time between Games 3 and Game 4, it's the shortest between games in the entire finals. Not great, right, for Steph Curry as he recovers from a left foot injury he suffered late in the fourth quarter in Game 3. But Steph being Steph, he was on the court today working out. What did you see from him, and how is Golden State going to manage his minutes tonight?
Malika, if you're a Warriors fan and you're an old school 80s and 90s R&B fan like myself, it was a beautiful moment this morning to see Steph Curry splashing shots to the beautiful sounds of New Edition, Ralph Tresvant, and Johnny Gill singing. This was the quiet storm before the storm, Malika, because Steph Curry, everybody's going to be watching his foot. I've been watching his foot the last couple days, and so far, if you're following the hints and the signs, it looks like it's improving. After Game 3, he had trouble. You could see a pronounced limp as he went up to the podium. Yesterday at practice, I watched him navigate the stairs, not even a sign of even favoring anything. And today, on the court, doing jab steps, shooting, going through his normal routine, it looks good. And the good thing is he has a blueprint for how to manage this because he went through this early in the season. And he said right now, it's about pain tolerance. And at this time of the year, if you can go, he's going to go. So far, so good. Hours before this game, it looks like Steph Curry is progressing and trending in the right way, and it looks like he's not going to have any limits on him.
Well, and listening to Steve Kerr speak, it certainly seems like it's just going to be about how he's feeling when he's out on the court, not necessarily a set minutes time restriction for him. I'm going to let you go get back to listening to that 90s R&B. But as for the Celtics, Robert Williams, he's essentially been questionable the entire playoffs, knee soreness coming off that surgery. Tim, what can we expect from the Time Lord tonight?
Well, I think that question, Malika, what can we expect to see from Robert Williams is going to determine whether the Celtics win this game or not. When we have seen him moving around the court, flying around, feeling good on that left knee, like we did in Game 1, like we did 2 nights ago in Game 3, the Celtics have been clearly the better team in this series. When he has not felt good, like in Game 2, like in earlier games in this playoffs, the Celtics are much more vulnerable, particularly to Stephen Curry if he's feeling good, being able to attack them in the pick and roll. We saw Al Horford, one of the most mobile bigs in the league, seemingly stop trying to guard Steph basically in the pick and roll because he did not know whether to jump out on him and turn into a 7-point play or whether to step back and let him take these shots off the pick and roll, which leads Steph to getting open threes, which, as we know, are a deadly thing for the opposition. So if Robert Williams feels good tonight, if he comes out, warms up, and feels good on that knee, which he said he felt good yesterday, the Celtics should feel very good about their chances. But as you pointed out, Malika, this is the one time in this series that there's only one day off between games. For Robert Williams and his recovery, that could be the difference between the Celtics winning this one and going up 3-1, or the series going back to the Bay 2-2, with the Celtics blowing a golden opportunity to take firm control of the series.
Yeah, they certainly have an opportunity tonight. Tim, whoa, thank you so much. We will see you both on the 6 o'clock Sports Center. But you guys, the fact of the matter is here, right, that Golden State, they have to figure out a way to win this one, right?
Yeah.
Chill out over here, Richard.
No, he looked at me crazy.
I'm looking at everybody. I'm not
He's looking at everybody crazy. That's it's
okay.
not because you have a Rice Krispie treat in your pocket.
No, I got 2.
You have
Listen,
2.
I brought one for everyone in class.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well, that math doesn't add up.
Well,
what adjustments, let's go back to basketball, do you think Steve Kerr is going to need to make tonight in order to even up this series?
Well, I don't know if there's necessary adjustments. The one that would be is the go to the pool party, the Def lineup, the Hampton 5, the go all fall.
Go about Hampton 5.
Go small and then just try and outshoot them. But I don't know if that's the necessary smartest one, but that's definitely a trick that he has in his bag. And typically when you would watch Steve Kerr, he would only go to those lineups in need-win situations. He would never start it off. And look, maybe you talk about Poole not being, the guy for this series. Maybe we've seen his numbers increase when you start him. So maybe start him for 5-6 minutes. But that would just mean that they'd have to protect the paint and keep those bigs off the glass, which I don't know if they have enough firepower to offset that.
You know what? The adjustments the Warriors need to make is they need to find more minutes for Kuminga. and I'm not saying put him in the starting lineup, can you fix your body language? Look, all they have to do is find a few minutes here and there because the lane has been wide open for the Celtics, and they don't feel Draymond Green. They don't feel Kevon Looney. They need a rim protector, a guy that's athletic, a guy that could come in and match the Celtics' athleticism. And we know one thing about this young guy. He's not scared to attack and be offensively aggressive. So if I'm Steve Kerr, I definitely find some time for Kuminga coming in off the bench and seeing if he could have an impact on this series and this game tonight.
I think Kuminga is going to play, either Kuminga or Moody, but I think they'll just play the Bjelica minutes. And if they play well, maybe they get more minutes. Look, we could talk about adjustments, this, lineups, this. None of this matters if Draymond Green and Jordan Poole give them nothing again offensively. 10 points or 12 points combined, none of this matters. As for lineups, the Poole party is interesting. Steve Kerr doesn't seem to trust it defensively, and I get that.
Yeah.
I thought Peyton would play more in Game 3. I like the Steph, Peyton, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond lineup, or the same lineup with Otto Porter in Peyton's place. I think we'll see both of those. Defensively, I think they learned in Game 3, we can't just switch Curry onto Tatum with an open floor, Curry onto Jaylen Brown with an open floor. So I think they'll try different things, hedging, trapping, maybe a little zone defense, because the Celtics, I think by the end of that game, are like, oh, we got this. We'll just bully them all the way to the basket.
And thank you for saying that, Zach, because you got all bent out of shape because I said about playing Kuminga. Look, try him out. In the old saying, right, if a coach give you 1 minute, give him a reason to give you 2 minutes.
Agreed.
Okay, so just try him out. It won't hurt anything.
But the reality of the situation is that if we're talking about Kuminga being the individual that's going to possibly give them a little bit of a lift, the Golden State Warriors are in a lot of trouble.
That is not true.
Well, let's look at this. After Boston's first round sweep of the Nets, they have struggled to string together consecutive wins, right? They've gone 3 for 6 after victories compared to a perfect 7-0 after losses since then. And Warriors fans, they can take solace in the fact that Golden State is also undefeated after losses in this time compared to just 4 and 5 after wins. And this is what Ime Udoka was talking about after the game. He said, we figured out how to respond after losses. We need to bottle that up and figure out how to do that after wins. My wow stat of the day, though, 26 consecutive series. That's going back to 2013. The Warriors have won a road game, right? So if they do not do that tonight, they are in danger of that streak falling apart. So Mr. Perkins, I ask you, since you are our resident, you're just our resident Celtic.
Yeah.
How do they string back-to-back good games here?
It's all about the mentality. I think when you look at the Celtics and you look at their young ball club, the youth of them, I think they get too high. Right? They don't have even kill. Like when they win, they get too high and they get satisfied. It's almost like me eating. You know what I mean? I never get satisfied. I never get full. I always want more food. And that's what the Celtics got to, that's the mentality that they have to have. They got to stay hungry even though they already
attack like you attack a burger.
Turkey leg.
Yeah, but seriously though, because that's their drop off. Like it's never about whether or not the personnel or the X's and O's are there. It's all about their mentality. You can look at this team and say, well, why are they not playing harder? Why did they have this miscue on defense? It's all about staying hungry. And I'm ready to see the Celtics have a follow-up game, not a bounce-back game.
Well, look, when I look at this Celtics team, they have all of the tools. And I think that's part of the maturity. They're still a young team. Like, we forget their 3 best players, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Al Horford. That's part of the reason why when Al Horford came back, it added to what they were doing. You have another veteran leader that was needed for this team. So when your star players, and they're maturing before our eyes, but I think it's like the person said, this is a maturity thing. This is hey, we got to lock in. We have to play like we're the team that's down. We can't be satisfied. We have to stay hungry, and they have all of the tools to do that.
First of all, when I eat too much, I get lethargic. I don't want to. I don't want the Celtics to get lethargic.
Have you not heard how slow he talks?
That's him all I'm saying. Like I can't. I don't want to. I don't like that metaphor, Perk. Look, we all sat at a table just like this in Miami after Game 5 when the Celtics went up 3-2 and answered the question: are we coming back to Miami? No, 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 no. And the Celtics went and lost a shocking home game and almost choked away Game 7 in what would have been maybe the worst collapse in the history of basketball. To me, you can talk about mentality, maturity. I think that manifests itself in this has been the theme of the series. If the Celtics take care of the ball, they will win. If they commit too many turnovers and let the Warriors run, they will lose, or the Warriors at least have a chance to win. And I have to say, for all the inconsistencies and ups and downs, and we've just chronicled it now about the Celtics team can't stand prosperity, having been at their practice and around some of their people yesterday and this morning, I kind of like the vibe. I feel like they're ready for this game in this moment, and I feel like they know the Warriors are going to come out like their season's on the line. I think this could be a really, really good game.
Yeah, I think it could be too. I was having this conversation with Tim Bontemps actually the other day, and we were sort of talking about the Celtics as being the team that are just incredibly solid on both ends of the floor. They're not perfect. They're not maybe, dynasty exceptional yet, but they're just incredibly solid versus the Warriors have these enormous strengths and these enormous weaknesses. And so which one wins out? The one that is just incredibly just sort of right here, super, super, super solid and talented, or this huge pendulum swing back and forth?
I think the one that stayed, I think the Celtics being solid.
Slow and steady.
Yeah, being solid. And that's being solid offensively with the turnovers, cutting down on the turnovers. But defensively, like we talk about the drop coverage and the pick and roll, and we talk about that so much. Why haven't they switched it up? But it was so other miscues, miscommunications for us, switches on Klay Thompson, like things to that nature. If they just stay solid, don't gamble, don't reach, things to that nature, being disciplined, I think the Celtics have the upper hand.
Well, we have a lot more to get into ahead of this game still to come on NBA Today. But first, we're going to go back to Game 3 just a little bit. Celtics fans, they let Draymond hear it, but his family, his children, they heard it too. So how far is too far? And historically, there have been some heroic Finals Game 4 performances. A trip down memory lane shortly. Plus, coming up next, where does tonight rank in the biggest games of Steph Curry's career? That answer is just minutes away. It's a pretty big one.
Is there anything nice you can say about Draymond Green?
Not me. Not me. No. That's not.
Screw Draymond Green. I can't.
Anybody else? One nice thing you can say about Draymond?
I'm gonna say if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Grow up, Buttercup.
Anything nice? Not at all. I don't like that guy.
How's he offended by the fans if he's the same way?
Ooh, out of the mouths of babes. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to just leave that right where you dropped it. I thought they were supposed to say something nice.
But
Something
that was nice.
about
Nothing
Draymond.
at all.
That's the fans here.
All right. Well, some Celtics fans maybe went too far, some folks think, in razzing Draymond in Game 3. I like that word, razzing. For more on this topic that seems to at least have Twitter abuzz, welcoming in Mark Spears. You know a thing or two about Draymond. You've covered this team for, a decade and a half? So let's jump right in.
Yeah.
Where do you fall on, after talking to Draymond, talking to the team, talking from fans? By the way, I don't know if folks realize Mark Spears was also based in Boston for a while and covered the Celtics. So you covered this guy. So you've seen sort of both sides of all this.
I know, and it's been interesting because you saw Draymond's wife, Hazel, very upset, posted on social media about it, but Al Horford's sister posted something as well, taking a shot back at her. Boston fans are the most passionate in the NBA, for better or for worse.
You can hear them right now.
Yeah. I remember when the Celtics beat the Lakers in 2008, talking to Kobe Bryant about it. And he said, well, look, we won, and they still threw rocks on our bus and pushed our bus and shook it on our way out. I remember in 2010 when they were playing the Lakers, Lamar Odom's at the free throw line. He was dating Khloe Kardashian at the time. And they were chanting "ugly sister" when he was at the line.
Well, I'll chant anything.
So that might even eclipse Draymond, but nobody loves their team more. Nobody knows more about them. No one knows more than the history, and no one is more ride to die than the Celtic fans. They show up 20 minutes before. They're chanting "Let's go Celtics." They are what you could give as a definition of ride and die fan. And as you see what they said about Draymond, that's the Celtic fan.
Well, Richard, you shared an interesting story as we were walking up to set today.
Well, yeah. there's a million things that have happened here. I've been fortunate enough to play against Boston 3 times in the postseason, 2 times in the conference finals to go to the finals. And let me say this, as much as Oracle is crazy and was crazy, when you come out to this side, when you come out to the East Coast, and the Warriors were lucky getting Cleveland and getting the Raptors in the finals. If you get Boston, you get Philly, you get Detroit, you get New York, those are different experiences as an athlete, let me express to you. But the part that I like most is that kid. The kid right there is like, well, how can he be upset if he does the exact same thing? That's my thing when we're looking at this. Draymond literally flipped off an entire crowd walking out of Memphis. Now, we understand why. He just got a bloodied eye, but it doesn't matter. The little kid that was sitting right there, Klay Thompson, that little kid didn't do anything. You know, there's other people that might not have been booing him, but everybody got fingers there, and then we want to sit here and say, oh, well, this crowd in Boston. It's like, no, you can't have it both ways. If we're going to play the villain, if we're going to do this, you have to accept the villain role, and I don't think anybody does it better than Draymond Green.
I mean, what are we talking about right now?
I don't know what we talking about.
Like, this is the NBA Finals. We doing all this crying. We doing all this crying. What the babies go do, okay? Here's the thing, right? We talking about the city of champions. We talking about the Beantown. This is where legends are made, right? This is why we praise Michael Jordan for coming in here and dropping a 60-piece on the Boston Celtics on Larry Bird. This is why we praise LeBron James when he had 45, I believe it was, in that epic Game 6 when he was with the Heat. This is why we praise Jimmy Butler when he had 47 in the Eastern Conference Finals in a hostile environment. You got to embrace this. Like, this is, okay, you want to shut him up? Come in here and do something about it between the lines. Like, I'm not trying to hear that. Didn't we just see Charles Barkley get hit in the head or something with a bottle while he was sitting outside the arena in San Francisco? Like, we're not about to sit up here and be playing this pity party.
Nah, show up, say he wanted to do something
and show out.
Yeah, but the point is, is that
he did say he wanted to do something.
Yeah, but I mean, show up and show out.
Yeah. Basketball is basketball.
Yeah.
All of that crowd, all of that excess, all of that noise, no different than Gene Hackman did in Hoosiers. The hoop is the same height.
Well, actually, it wasn't.
The they were trying to trick him.
Yeah,
but the three-point line, the lines are all the same.
Yeah.
Go out there and play basketball.
Hey,
nobody knows.
Maybe that's the adjustment for the Warriors tonight. Break out the picket fence.
Do
what Kyrie Irving did that one time. You remember they was giving him hell, and he went out there and he shined and he put on a performance. I think it was last playoffs. And he stepped on Lucky and it pissed everybody off.
Big Baby's still mad about it. Look, to your point about Kyrie, though, there's a line for fans between like playful taunting that may be profane and stuff that's obscene and personal, where if the player talks back to that and stuff, that's fine. Like this to me still, we saw with Trae Young last year in New York. Yeah. This is kind of just typical playful, it's far worse fan stuff. If you start to get personal, if you start to get obscene, if you start to get, you know, anything like that, then it becomes a different story. This to me is just kind of a non-thing. Like, let's just play the games.
To be honest, Draymond wasn't upset with the fans afterwards.
There we go.
So, Mark, let's go to another member of the Dubs, a guy you've covered for a while now, Steph Curry. He's obviously not 100%, right, heading into this one. If he's able to put up some heroic performance tonight, where is that going to go down in Steph Curry performances over his career?
I think it's going to be the second best. To me, the first time they had this opportunity, 2015, to me, the way the Celtics look now was the way they looked then. He hadn't done it before, hadn't won a championship before. Everything was new. You still had to get over that hump and win a title. So to me, this is the second toughest challenge. Getting that first ring was the most difficult.
Perk?
I think if Steph could come into the Garden tonight and have an epic performance, then he's putting another, he's adding another accolade to his legacy. Like, I just mentioned LeBron, I just mentioned Jimmy Butler, I just mentioned Michael Jordan. Like, if Steph could come into the Garden, into a hostile environment, and give him a 50-piece wing dinner, all flats, fried hard, then guess what? You know what? We're going to remember this moment forever.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, this is, if you start to rank the talent of the 6 finals teams that the Warriors have been a part of in this stretch, this is probably the 6th best team. Yeah. They have the most efficiencies. Yeah, they have the veteran leadership. They have the experience. But to me, this might be the first time that the Warriors have shown up in the NBA Finals, and I know it was really close, that they weren't a favorite or a heavy favorite. So that means they're coming in here pretty much on even ground, having to prove that they can win this championship without being the dominant team walking in.
Tonight, And beating this Celtics team potentially 3 out of 4 times to win the title is one of the biggest, if not the biggest challenge Steph Curry has ever faced. Think about it. 2015, Cavs were crippled by injuries. 2016 Thunder and 2016 Cavs, those were big challenges, the last of which you guys beat them. After that, the Durant teams were kind of unbeatable until they got injured. So this is look, his legacy, all this, that's all set. But as far as you're just telling me the magnitude of the challenge, beating this team 3 more times in a short span is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, he's faced since your team in 2016.
Well, and it all gets started tonight. We get to watch it go down. Game 4, Mark Spears, thank you so much for joining us here on NBA Today. You mentioned Michael Jordan, right? And LeBron?
MJ?
Yeah.
Okay, well, still to come on NBA Today. If you're a fan of the NBA Finals history, you know that 4, it means just a little bit more. Revisiting some classics, but we're also staying in the moment as well. Is tonight must win for the Warriors, or could they come back from down 3-1? Richard, I know you have some experience with that, but don't miss what Zach Lowe has to say. And why are we showing this video of Richard celebrating?
Why do you have your camera phone out? Why you not
everything, dog?
TD Garden is going to be electric as Game 4 of the NBA Finals gets underway here in Boston. I cannot wait. There has been plenty of talk so far about Game 4. We have plenty more to go, but I do want to take just 1 second and look back a little bit because ESPN's Kevin Pelton released a list of all-time Finals Game 4 teams, right? These are the best single performances by a player at each position in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right,
do it.
We're going to start at point. It's got to be Magic.
Yes.
Broke my dad's heart.
1987.
I must have never liked your dad.
Trailing the Celtics by 1. Look at this.
Look at that.
I mean, he delivered the winning shot on what he famously referred to after the game as my junior skyhook.
Yeah,
Finished with 29, 8, and 5.
I remember this.
Michael Jordan.
Danny Ainge didn't ask for that.
55 points.
This hurt my heart a little bit being a Phoenix kid. Not that I was a huge Phoenix fan. It was just more of like I saw all of my best friends just be crumbled watching MJ just dominate them.
Well, it was the second highest scoring Finals game all time. And then small forward, Kawhi Leonard, reversing the Warriors' usual dominance after halftime. He had 17 in the third quarter alone, 36 points, 12 rebounds, 4 steals. The claw was everywhere.
And just walked off.
He had an MJ. He had an MJ run.
I know, he doesn't even crack a smile. All right, let's go ahead to power forward then. We're going all the way back to 1993. In a losing effort, Charles Barkley, he posted a triple-double, accounted for over half of the Suns' total field goals.
Telling you, Chuck was just different, man.
2 in the same game. Game 4.
32 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. It was in a loss. It does not take away from the performance. And then manning the middle, it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, it's 1974. Kareem went 34 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. He had at least 34, 10, and 5 in 4 times during the 7-game series against Boston. So, I mean, those are some
pretty damn good game 4s.
Was.
Yeah.
Perk, did you have any?
No, I didn't. But this is not an individual sport, but my team did in 2008. Oh, run the footage.
Yeah, let's
run the footage. In 2008, we were on the road. And I actually started it. I started it right here. That started the run right here. We were down 20-plus throughout the whole game, and we came back and walked it down. I mean, one of the greatest comebacks, Game 4 history.
How many points did you have in that?
I had 2 points, but I had 1,500 claps. Again, it's a team sport and not an individual sport.
Zach, any adjustments to the Game 4 starting 5?
And you set some monster picks, too. No adjustments to the game. First of all, the correct answer is Michael is the greatest of all those Game 4s.
Absolutely.
I want to give a little love. He couldn't crack the shooting guard starting spot, but Kobe Bean Bryant, Game 4 of the 2000 Finals on a bum ankle with Shaq fouled out in a 2-1 series, goes for 28 on 14 of 17, 8 points in overtime to ice the game with Shaq on the bench in a pivotal Game 4 after he missed Game 3 due to an ankle injury. So give Kobe some love.
I start doing the pump the brakes. Malika's looking at me crazy. I'm like, watch, you're about to see Kobe hit the shot. That was the famous, I got y'all, everybody relax.
And then
that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay. I was like, you're flailing your arms around like a crazy
that brings
person.
me back. I was watching that. I was actually a Laker fan before the next year we lost.
How many teams were you a fan of? A Phoenix fan? A Lakers fan?
I was born in LA. I grew up in Phoenix.
Can everyone hear the Let's Go Celtics is already breaking out?
I think it's saying Let's Go Perk.
I don't think.
Yeah, it is. I think it's saying Let's Go Perk. Look at it.
Oh, my God.
I'm telling you, you see that?
Perkins eating this up.
That's what I'm talking about.
From the balcony, like the Pope from the balcony.
All right, well, Perk, the answer to this can't be yourself. Who has the best chance of cracking that all-time Game 4 performance list tonight?
Jason Tatum.
Okay.
Jason Tatum. This is the moment for Jason Tatum right now. He hasn't had that standout, I'm the best player on the floor moment in this series. The conversation has either been Steph or the conversation has been Jaylen Brown. I don't care about Jason Tatum going out there and getting 25 or 30. I want to see one of them 40 pieces tonight. And I think he has it in him. I think he's going to perform well tonight. And I think he's going to do it in great fashion with Deuce on the sideline, cheering him on.
Rich?
I don't think anybody has a chance to join that list.
I'm being a Debbie Downer.
I'm not being a Debbie Downer. I just looked at that list of Kareem, Charles Barkley, MJ, and I'm just like, you know what?
Steph Curry's playing in the game, right?
I don't think anybody has a chance. We'll see if I'm wrong.
Zach?
We'll see on Monday.
So you're telling me this game is going to have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jason Tatum, and Jeremiah. No one has a chance of having like a 30-point, 10-rebound game.
Let me just say this. I'm not necessarily don't have a chance. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think.
What a bold prediction. The greatest Game 4 in the history of basketball won't happen tonight. We're just asking if there's a chance.
It could. The greatest Game 4 in the history of basketball could happen tonight.
I'm going off the beaten path. I want to give Jaylen Brown some love because I think Jaylen Brown has been the Celtics' steadiest player so far in this series, and he could have a monster game too. He's been this sort of quiet, steady leader as Tatum's been a little up and down. Smart's been a lot up and down. Jaylen Brown's had a really great series. Maybe he goes for 35 tonight and cracks the list.
Well, and Jaylen Brown has been steadily marching up the list of finals MVP odds. So,
there you go.
Maybe tonight could be the night that's something that's...
What a downer.
Got to have a big Game 4. Look, got to have a big Game 4. I like a good Game 4.
Well, we're going to see a good Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, ABC, ESPN Deportes, ESPN Radio. Celtics up 2-1. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 8:30 Eastern.
They are fired up.
They are fired up. Still to come on NBA Today. Richard, cover your ears.
What?
Might the NBA potentially shorten the season to prevent injuries? That topic coming up next.
Hey, when the one and done, when they created that messed up.
You can never compete.
Man, shout out to the students of Ghetto Film School who produced that awesome clip. That school is one of the grant recipients of the NBA Foundation, which is dedicating to driving economic opportunity for Black youth. And you can see more of the students' work by going to the NBA's social and digital platforms. That was just excellent. And now I am pleased to be joined by Byron Sporrell, the president of league operations for the NBA. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks for having me back. Yeah, such a great time to celebrate the game.
I know the fans are already out here. Let's just jump right in. Joe Dumars has recently been appointed executive vice president, head of basketball operations. What perspective does having an NBA champion, a Hall of Famer, add to your team?
Big time. He brings so much value and credibility to the game as an expert in basketball. You can already tell just a few weeks in, Malika, he's going to have a different impact on the game for us. Some of the predecessors that he's coming behind have actually done a great job for us, but in terms of taking it to the next level, thinking about the game in a different way, his expertise, particularly as a champion and also as an executive. He was executive of the year in the NBA at one time.
Yeah.
So all of those perspectives, the credibility, the value, the conviction around the game, he really cares about the game. And so we're going to really be pleased with the work ahead of us in terms of him being a great teammate and giving us that value.
Yeah, sort of all that experience.
Absolutely,
absolutely. Here. I want to talk a little bit about rule changes, right? Because what rule changes would you like to be considered this offseason? Can we expect to see a change with something like the take fouls, for instance, intentionally when a team fouls an offensive player in a transition opportunity? Something.
So just yesterday we finished up our recommendation with the competition committee.
Okay.
Still has to be approved by the board, so we'll be doing that in July, right around Summer League time in Vegas. So still has to go through vote and approval, but we took, much like the non-basketball moves last year, took the same process, worked through the competition committee through the spring. Now we'll actually bring it to the proposal with the board, and then from there implement during Summer League make sure our referees are getting it on point for the beginning of the season. And then, as always, we'll utilize the competition committee to monitor and calibrate as we go forward. But the transition take foul is A1 priority for us to make sure we deal with that. Helps with game flow, helps to bring back more fast breaks.
Well, and as we kind of continue to look at the competitive balance here, I know that last week, Commissioner Adam Silver, he talked about potentially shortening the season. What would the benefits potentially be from a league perspective here?
Yeah, one thing we're looking at there is not necessarily shortening it from the standpoint of regular season games. Of course, in the bubble, we had 72 for those who were there. We had 72 last season because of the construct of the schedule and the calendar. It's been great to get back on cadence and a full calendar. And so the 82-game schedule is something we're going to always look at to balance competitive lens, to balance injuries, things of that nature. But at the same time, the 82 games, really we're looking at it from a format perspective too. I think Adam said this too, that if we want to put in like an in-season tournament to go along with the play-in tournament, has to come in some point doing the footprint from October to June as we currently stand. And so one of the ways to do that is shorten the season a little bit to fit in an in-season tournament. More meaningful games of consequence, and really play around with that format as we move forward. So really exciting things to think about as we move forward.
And I know that the mid-season tournament, that's something that keeps coming up. It's one of those things you guys are keeping revisiting. I know, the fans down here are very interested to see how tonight's game shakes out. And one of the components of the finals is who are the referees that are on the floor. Can you give us a little bit of insight in how the referees for the finals are actually chosen?
Yeah, it's one of the more robust processes that we do in league operations across basketball, referee operations, and our teams. So all throughout the course of the year, our 75 refs are evaluated every game, every play, right? That data is one input. The teams evaluate the referees at midseason and at the end of the season. That is another input. And in our referee operations group, led by Monty McCutcheon, actually has his development advisors, and they do rating and ranking of each official too. So at the end of the season, we have our 75 refs goes to a composite score with those three inputs. We look at that list, and then from there, we basically evaluate and assess who should be the top 36 in the first round, and then take that playoff performance to get to the next 28 for the next round, 20 for the conference finals, and then the 12 that you see that are basically all crew chiefs, but they play the different positions on the floor now. But that group of best of the best are the ones that are alongside the best team, the best players, that are right now in the finals. And that's what you want. You want quality competition to be the focus. And that's something that Joe Dumars actually said in the competition committee yesterday. We want the focus to be on the compelling game played by our players, our great athletes on the court. The referees need to do what they need to do, but we got the best of the best, making sure that the game is monitored in the appropriate way.
Right, and they have some tough decisions to make. They want the game to speak for itself. They don't want to come out at the end of the day as a story.
Absolutely, want to be on the game.
Thank you so much for joining us here on
NBA
Today. It is always good to have you. I cannot wait for this game for tonight. When we return, is tonight's game the series? Our panel on the pressure of Game 4 with everything on the line. That's coming up next on NBA Today.
The Boston Celtics team has nothing but athleticism across the board. The Celtics have the best team in basketball. I can't remember the last time we've seen a defensive team like the Boston Celtics. I'm telling y'all, man, this Boston Celtics team is real. Coach Ime Udoka hold these guys accountable.
But we're going to see it all come to fruition. Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Big Warriors fan over here.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
He hasn't mentioned the Warriors unless it's a specific question about the Warriors, and then he's going to reference back to the Boston Celtics.
No, I keep telling you, I'm the most unbiased guy on this panel, okay?
Whoa, easy.
I will criticize. I'm the same.
Zach,
hold on, time out.
Let him lie like that,
No,
Zach?
I'm not lying. I'm the same guy.
I said easy.
I'm the same guy that when they were like 3 games under 500, I was talking about splitting up the Jays. I just give credit where credit is due. And anybody with any type of common basketball sense could tell that the Boston Celtics are the better basketball team.
Okay. Like, I'm not even, I think I said earlier, like, they are the most solid team.
Yeah.
The Warriors have the huge strengths and the huge weaknesses. Speaking of a guy that has some medium strengths and huge weaknesses, Richard.
What?
You have some experience coming back from down 3-1. If the Warriors lose tonight, can they do it?
Yeah, but they're going to need some help. No different than we got some help with Draymond getting suspended in that game 5. But, currently the way it's constructed with, the Warriors and the Celtics, it will be very difficult given the amount of firepower that the Warriors have. It just wouldn't be enough to just punch the Celtics for 3 straight games. So this game 4, and that's why we've been talking about game 4.
Yeah.
This is a huge game 4, the difference between making it a series and pretty much being over.
Do you think, Zach, that it would be too much to overcome a loss tonight for the Golden State Warriors?
Look, the reason sports are fun is because unpredictable things happen. But to me, this is a must-win for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Even with 5 and 7 at home in hand, I just don't see this Celtics team with this defense losing 3 in a row. There will be a game where they shut off your water, and they don't even have to play a great offensive game in that case, and they'll snatch a win somehow. I could be wrong. Sports are wild, but I just can't see them losing 3 straight.
I gave y'all the answer before you gave up the tee up, Malika. Look, here's the thing. When you look at a team that could hold a team to 16 points in the fourth quarter in game 1, 11 points in the fourth quarter in game 3, you're looking and witnessing something special. And that's the Boston Celtics. I'm telling you, they hang their hats on the defensive end. And if they lose this game tonight, they're not. Look, the Boston Celtics, Ime Udoka is not letting up. Okay, I'm telling you that straight up.
Did you get fitted for your ring yet?
Who?
From the Celtics? You get fitted for your ring?
You know what? That's their moment, bro. That's their moment. I don't want a ring.
Yeah, okay. Still to come on NBA Today.
Is real.
Yesterday, before we went off air, Richard,
we got some goggles?
got a special gift for Perk, which was a chain. So we have a gift for you today. Don't worry.